Hello, everyone. On today's podcast episode, I'm going to go over intelligence again and how intelligence works. When I say, infinite intelligence comes together to create one intelligence. All the intelligences in the universe come together, in the world is actually one intelligence. Let me explain it to you in a different way. Your cells, the cells in your brain, right? Each cell in your brain, it's its own organism. Scientists will agree that each cell in your brain, it's its own life form. It functions on its own. It has its own life to live, and when it's done living its life, it dies. Right? When your body dies, when you die, your individual cells still live on. When an animal dies, their cells are still alive for weeks before they all decay. Scientists have shown that your cells actually live on. Some of your cells actually, migrate from your body and live on even after you die. So what does that tell you? The cells in your head, right? The cells in your brain are their own individual organisms. They function on their own. They have their own mini intelligence. Each cell in your body has its own tiny little intelligence that governs the way it behaves, that governs what it likes, what it doesn't like. Its own, every life form has its own level of intelligence, right? But all the cells in your brain come together to form what? One mind, one intelligence. That's how intelligence works. That's how the world works. All the different energies in the world come together to form one energy. And if you're intelligent, right, and your energy, then it's basic logic. If humans are intelligent, if life forms are intelligent, and the only thing that makes up life is energy, then by default, energy is intelligent. The same atoms in your body are the same atoms in water. The same atoms in your body are the same atoms that can be found on Earth. If these atoms make your mind intelligent, if these atoms, when they come together, create your mind, it means these atoms by default are intelligent. Otherwise, you will not be intelligent. And within these atoms is energy. So if atoms are intelligent, energy is intelligent. And if energy is intelligent, and all the energy in this world is one, guess what? Energy, all the energy in this world creates one mind, one central intelligence. Is basic logic. Your mind functions as one, does it not? When you think as one. It doesn't cross your mind that your intelligence, your mind itself, is created by a bunch of tiny little cells, each with their own level of intelligence. All these tiny little cells, all these tiny little atoms, all these tiny little, energies within your mind, within your brain, come together to form what? The human mind. So it doesn't matter whether it's many, they all come together to form one. That's how infinity works as well. When everything is infinite, everything is one. All infinity come together to form one. So finite and infinite are two sides of the same coin. All energy come together to form one energy. All intelligence come together to form one intelligence. Because that's how your mind works as well. All the tiny little cells, all the intelligences of the tiny little cells in your brain come together to form what? Your mind, your intelligent mind. All the tiny little intelligence in your atoms come together to form what? Your intelligent mind. That's why in quantum physics, it shows that, the universe, the world around you knows when it's being watched. The world knows when it's being watched. The reason why the world knows when you're watching it is because the very world you're looking at is intelligent. Being able to observe and watch you signifies or implies that the very world that you think is mindless and dumb is filled with intelligence. Because the world itself is, energy creates this world. Intelligent energy created this world. And that's what God is. Intelligent and omnipresent. Energy is intelligent and omnipresent. God is intelligent and omnipresent. God created the world from his omnipresent body. Energy creates the world from his omnipresent body. God and energy are synonymous. There's no difference between the two. Just because energy doesn't come out and say, I am God, does not mean it's not God. We're looking at the same thing from two different points. Scientists are seeing energy from their point of view. God, Christians and theists see energy and call it God. It is the same thing. Intelligent creator. Energy itself is our intelligent creator, because that's all we're made out of. We're made out of energy. We're made out of God. God and energy are synonymous. There's no difference between the two. So, there are multiple ways to prove that God exists. Other than that, one of the other ways is that, words itself also point to the existence of God. The very words itself point to the existence of God. Why? Because in the beginning was the Word. In the Bible states in the beginning was the Word. You know what that tells you? It tells you words are very, very important in this world. Words are very, very important. Like I said it before, our minds can't think without words. Yes, we can, use our imaginations, but the only way we understand this world is through words. The only way we communicate is through words. Even sign language is still words. So even the things that, we don't consider words are still words. Our minds work off words. Intelligence works off word. Even the very definition of word implies intelligence. Implies intelligence. Because, words do not work without intelligence. So when it says in the beginning was the Word, it's also implying that in the beginning was intelligence. Intelligence was with God. Intelligence was God. This world was created intelligently by God. Or if we want to say it again, this world was created intelligently by energy. And that's all we are. God is omnipresent. Energy is omnipresent. Energy is all that exists. And because energy is infinite, right? It is one. Because God is infinite, God is one. Because God is omnipresent, everything is God. Because energy is omnipresent, everything is energy. So I know I've said it before in other episodes, episodes, but I just wanted to go over it again so that, you understand how intelligence works. Although the world seems mindless, every part of this world is governed by intelligence. Everything you see around you has innate intelligence within it because it's energy, and energy is intelligent. That's where our intelligence came from. You are only intelligent because energy is intelligent. If energy wasn't intelligent, you would not be intelligent. If God wasn't intelligent, you would not be intelligent. Your intelligence comes from God. Your intelligence comes from energy. There's no difference between the two words. So, the word "the" means God. So every time you say, for example, the house, the world, the car, the atheist, the word "the" means God, because the word "the" means L. L and God are the same thing. The word L means God. The word "the" comes from the word L, and the word L means God. The word "the" also means God. So when you say the world, you're saying God's world. When you say the car, you're saying God's car. When you say the house, you're saying God's house. You're saying the universe, you're saying God's universe. When you say theist, you're saying God's man. That's where the word theist comes from. That's what the word theist means. Theist, God's man, or a man of God, or a believer in God. So every time you use the word "the," you're calling God's name without you knowing it. So, words point to things that you don't think they point to. Words point to God. The very word that you use on a daily basis points to God himself, that God exists. There are many ways to prove that God exists. I've only showed you one. Even words themselves point to the existence of God. You don't call energy God. But guess what? The word electricity, you can't spell electricity without L. Do you know what L means? God. L is God. So what did I tell you? Electricity, which signifies energy, is God. Words reflect God. Even the word energy, if you take it, if you go back to, etymologically, you'll still find that that word itself also signifies God. Everything in this world points to the existence of God, including words itself. Even quantum physics is now showing you that the universe itself has its own intelligence. That's why it knows you're watching it. The world around you that you think is dumb and mindless is where your intelligence comes from. Is where your intelligence came from. You are intelligent because the world is intelligent. You are intelligent because God is intelligent. You are intelligent because energy is intelligent. You can't separate yourself from energy. You can never separate yourself from God, because you are God and God are one and the same. That's it for today's podcast episode. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.